Hey everyone, another episode of Growth Talks. I'm here with Mick Griffin, and we're going to talk about some of the tools for growth, for marketing, for sales. So let's just jump into it.
Thanks. Good to see you, man. How's it going?
Likewise, sir. I saw that you did the product hunt promo recently, so I thought that could be a cool icebreaker. Can you share some of the results?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. So, we had that crazy day on Product Hunt that every SaaS goes through at one point or another. It's a really funny one, right? Because we spent a couple of weeks preparing. I read all the blog posts, how to do this, how to do that, and so on.
Right.
And kind of off we went, started at 8 a.m. that day. And ultimately for us, it was a success. I say it's a success because, we ended up with over kind of 400 upvotes on the day. It gave us a really nice reason to spread some knowledge around the local market, around Poland. So we got a lot of people that were just like, oh, wow, traffic is on Product Hunt. That's great locally. So that was really good. We got a lot of traffic that way.
Right.
We got very little traffic from Product Hunt. And this is where the whole strategy kind of fell down, which is basically, from my understanding and learning about this, Product Hunt really don't like first-time product hunters. So basically, if I say to you, hey, Mike, listen, we're on Product Hunt, give us an upvote if you don't mind, and it's the first time you've used it, they don't like that. Right. So they are trying, what they've built Product Hunt to do, which is totally fine. They want Product Hunt members to decide if products are good, not who is the most popular.
Sense. So 400 upvotes seems like a lot. It should get you highlighted on like top product hunts for a day or so, and it didn't happen.
It didn't happen for the exact same reason. So basically, it was kind of crazy. When we were even at like 200, we did hold number one product spot for about 45 seconds. It was a good 45 seconds, but basically,
wow, you are very precise.
It was so funny because we refreshed the page, we hit number one, we shared it with the company. Then we refreshed again and it was gone. But it's okay. It's okay. But basically, it was kind of crazy. We had 200 upvotes and products with like 75, 80 upvotes were actually going above us in the rankings section. So obviously, if we wanted to talk about like a hardcore growth hack metric, you want to get featured in that Product Hunt email, right? That goes out, product number 1, number 5. But I got to be honest, like I let go of all that tension very, very early in the day, and I said, let's just have some fun, let's enjoy it. It's always going to be tough to get in that number anyway. But ultimately, the algorithm of Product Hunt didn't work in our favor because one, a lot of the audience, especially of traffic, is HR professionals. So they are not really hardcore Product Hunt people. The other thing
I guess.
Yeah, the other thing we didn't do is, and I really considered this, was we didn't get hunted by someone else. So there are obviously these professional product hunters who you can either pay or they'll do it for free, but they have a backlog of like months of products waiting for hunting. And the benefit of that is that obviously when they hunt your product for you, their network in Product Hunt get that notification, right? So there is a benefit to that. So we didn't get it featured, although we were, I think in pure votes alone, we were like 5th or 6th. So we would have had a chance. But ultimately, it was a good day. It was a good experience. We got it gave us a really nice way to share that we were doing stuff in Poland, those kind of things as well. But we didn't generate a lot of traffic from product hunters.
Right. So the takeaway here, and like if you were to do it again, you would probably focus on trying to build relationships with the top product hunters first, just to get their mojo and just to get their let's say like a sauce their power from their profile flowing to your product hunt.
If that is your goal, Yeah, if that's your goal, I mean, again, I know it sounds really makes sense, right?
Right.
But the first thing to do if you want to get featured in Product Hunt and get traffic from product hunters and the email, one is definitely consider who is hunting the product. But second of all, it's like really invest into understanding that algorithm. So people would tell, like, the crazy thing about Product Hunt Day for me as well was that I was getting all these crazy people messaging me, telling me what to do. As a hunter, they were like, oh, Mick, I don't know if you know this, but Product Hunt don't like if you share your Product Hunt link on social media. And I'm like, for me, that's crazy. But what they're trying to say is Product Hunt don't want you to go and get external votes. They want you to get votes from people.
I remember we used to do a product hunt, and I remember getting tips that we shouldn't even ask for votes or even for support,
exactly,
because it can get us maybe not blocked or banned, but we wouldn't get features essentially.
Yeah, so you technically are not supposed to ask for upvotes. You can ask for support. You can ask for opinions, and that was something that somebody came out and said, "Look, it's in their terms and conditions," which was great. We edited a couple of posts, we edited a couple of graphics, and we were back on track, which was great. And the other thing is ironically, as much as I like Product Hunt and I think they built something great, they've got all these things in place to stop the system being gamed by popular people, let's say. However, all day long, I was offered, if you pay me $500, I've got a whole crew of Product Hunt upvote people who will get you number one, get you number two, get you number three. And I genuinely said, and most founders and CEOs will say I was crazy, but I said, like, I really just didn't want to do it that way. I don't. So ironically, Product Hunt has saved itself on one side, which I get, but the flip side is it's still being gamed by other people. And you tell me if I'm wrong. One thing I thought was a little bit unfair was I don't understand why Product Hunt don't value new people to the community. So if 200 people, user acquisition cost for them was zero, but 200, 300 people from Poland, and yet they classed it as a negative. So it was kind of a weird way to look at it from my perspective. However, we had a lot of fun. We got some demos, we got some trial accounts, all those kind of cool stuff. But we also didn't go into it with huge expectations of traffic, because I know how these things work. Suddenly Google launch a product on the same day, or someone else, or Facebook, and you can put months of work and budget and lose, right? So but it was cool. It was interesting.
I remember I used to have this feeling that getting us on Product Hunt would be like on the homepage of Product Hunt would, open all the doors. Just like I used to think about the TechCrunch or Mashable and, all the other tech, tech blogs out there. But that's really like, it's not a repeatable strategy for acquiring customers. It's more of a golden shot that will boost your signups or even hopefully sales for a short period. But it's not like a long-term, repeatable, essentially business model to count on articles. Obviously, it's good for SEO. It's good because it's getting in front of new people, and maybe they can infect others with your tool. But more or less, it feels like marketers should be concerned more about looking for stable sources of traffic, of stable sources of exposure of your brand.
Yeah, and I really wanted to use it as kind of like an internal thing as well, right? We're quite lucky. We come from the SaaS world for a long time, so we've seen the companies do this. We did a bit of mentoring and so on, but there was a lot of people inside traffic that had never even heard of a Product Hunt as well. So I wanted them to enjoy it, see that it was exciting, and like that kind of thing. So I think it's okay to do those one-shot kind of things, like celebrate getting mentioned in Forbes, going on Product Hunt, but you've got to, like you said, you've got to have a little bit of distance to it and say, well, if my whole year P&L report is based on the success of this, actually something is wrong. Like this can't be the Hail Mary.
Totally.
Yeah?
It's a cherry on top, but not this foundation for a business model. I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think I think we had same conversations even about things like Black Friday and Cyber Monday, right? Like we really, it's a really quality boost. At least we know we can predict something from it. We know that it's repetitive. We know it will happen year on year. However, it's really hard to predict that one big spike in November every year, and because if it doesn't work out, you've got like December to kind of recover, which is not easy, right? So but the ironic thing is that so many people they really want to hack it. They really want to, they have all these tips and tricks, which are great. But for me, I just wanted to enjoy it as well, finally, and have a bit of fun with it. So
again, what's the point? I remember we got featured on, I think it was a Mashable that got us like 700 signups in a day, which is like amazing. But as you know, well, we get 12 to 13,000 signups on monthly basis. So sure, additional 700 is an amazing, boost, but it's a one-off. It feels like the product.
And as an industry now, we all know these kind of things anymore, right? So now when we see a company is mentioned on Forbes, I think it's great. But we, as SaaS people, we kind of know, okay, well, you can go and buy that if you need it. You can go and make that happen if you want. Like there are ways to accelerate things. Now, I think that I like Product Hunt as well because I feel like it might be a trust builder. Someone might look at traffic and then go, let me go and see if they were on Product Hunt.
Right.
That's cool. I like that. I'm okay with that.
It's likely that the Product Hunt will be visible when you type traffic into Google. So that's also, building credibility. But moreover, it feels like traffic is probably at the maybe not an early stage, but it's not as mature as Twilio or live chat or whatever.
Not quite.
So it feels like that for businesses that are building this audience, building the community, it's way better because. Even though it will not become like this stable, repeatable source of traffic, it will give you initial boost to maybe, or bounce your ideas off the actual audience and maybe actual customers, and maybe figure out some tweaks in the product.
It's a really interesting one. I would love to keep learning about it because actually, for example, I talked to the team even at live chat. And live chat are really interesting with Product Hunt because I see that they might release 3 or 4 things a year on Product Hunt. Right. But it's like a sub product or it's a live chat 2.0, 3.0. So some companies do seem to want to keep going back, and there must be a good reason for that, of course. So I don't know, maybe it will end up being a one-shot thing and you kind of move on to more structured growth strategies. Or, I think there probably are some companies out there who kind of are finding a way to use it consistently, maybe. Yeah,
makes sense. All right, that's that. We have a really exciting topic for today, which is a kind of like a game, a challenge. Can you tell more about it?
I can. It's time to put Sadowski to the test today. I'm going to make him make some tough choices. So, for those who haven't seen this, it's called the $15 challenge or the £15 challenge or wherever you've seen it. And what this basically is it's saying to people, you got $15 to spend. There's various different things you can spend it on. What are you going to do? And this has traditionally been in like sports arenas, right? So it's like I said
with NBA where you have a point guard, small forward, etc. And you can pick. And every person is priced with either $1 or $5, and you have to choose under $15.
Exactly. Right? So are you that kind of person that goes for one LeBron James and one rookie, or you like to take the middle line and keep everybody at a kind of regular level? So what I want to do today is I've mapped this out with some SaaS products. We all know how hot the topic is of what tool do you use for this, that, and the other. And we're gonna hopefully play this game today, and we're gonna see how we spend these $15, and I'm definitely
awesome.
interested to see how our answers are different. If they're the same, this will be the most boring video ever.
Awesome.
But,
I just
yeah.
placed it on the screen, so I have the chart, the table open.
Yep. So for those who obviously again, if you've never seen this before, what I've done is I've tried to pick 4 or 5 different type of SaaS channels or types of products. They are not by far representing the entire industry. If you think there should be a product in there, please don't be mad. This is all just for a little bit of fun.
By the way, is it like is it sort of like a criticism for example, Profitwell, that you valued them at $1, or?
It's exactly the right question. So basically what I've tried to do is I've tried to put the valuations based on some of the pricing of these tools, right? So Profitwell is free to start. Trello is free to start. Facebook Messenger, for example. So these are in no way, what we're trying to say here, in no way is a tool that is valued at $1 or $2 not effective. This is just based on what people kind of spend their budgets on day to day.
Makes sense. Gotcha.
So the only one that was done a little bit from opinion was our lovely communication channel on the right hand side. And what I did is just had a bit of fun with that.
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, number 1.
Looking at the typical pay per click, that makes a lot of sense, at least in our space.
Yeah, exactly. So now we have the tough challenge of, okay, where are we going to spend our money? On the channel, on the analytic product, on where we engage, and those kind of things. So I think we can really. I'm gonna give you like 30 seconds to just quickly scan it. Take in all those products. Think about the ones that you use, the ones that you don't use.
I'm pretty surprised with SendGrid being $1. I thought that this is kind of like a premium email marketing product, mostly for enterprise.
My thought about SendGrid was more a case that it's mostly transactional, right? So you have to have a different tool or a different system made for creating them. So traditionally, transactional emails are pretty cheap to send, because there are a few cents per thousand. And, we use, for example, Brand 24, there was like Postmark, and we were sending a few 100,000 transactional messages a month. And you go all the way up to kind of like a HubSpot or a Marketo, which is kind of like the full suite. Yeah. So you need to do this and all that. But, if you want to take $1 SendGrid, I'm going to ask you some good questions about why, and we'll try to we'll try to find the right answers today.
All right.
Okay, so remember, for everybody who's watching, you got $15 to spend total. So you can't take the whole top row. You will obviously be out of budget. You do not have to spend all your $15 as well. You can have some left over.
Wow.
But let's see where we come out with today. So if I'm going to get this started and rock and rolling today, your first role, your first kind of column here is marketing automation tools. Nothing to be undervalued, of course. Communication, outbound communication with users, etc. Where do you think you are going to start your budget today?
I think I'm going to start with intercom.
Okay.
And that's not me saying that I love intercom. It's just that it's so ever present within our company, and we are considering stronger than ever switching them to usercom, because of the price, because of the poor customer service, some of the deliverability issues, and some of the features. But if I have to choose from the bunch visible on the screen, I would start as intercom, because it kind of solves also a CRM for me. So
okay.
I wouldn't have to choose a CRM really. So I would just pick Trello, just maybe not as a CRM, but just because I use it personally as a tool for tracking team efforts or any efforts within the organization, and just to make notes and reminders. But yeah,
Yep.
intercom would be my LeBron James.
Okay.
Do I go further or?
We have to make a small pause
Okay.
because I have a different screen. I don't have intercom on my first one, so I don't know where I went wrong.
Oh.
Maybe I sent like a. How did I do that?
Okay. Let me send you what I have.
Yeah. I don't know how I did it wrong. Sorry, man.
That's okay.
It will make it harder if we're on slightly different pages. So. So.
Okay.
Okay. So, dude, I fucked up because I wanted to talk about this first column, and intercom is in the third column, right? I'm talking like this way. So.
Oh.
You know what, I messed up. It's on me. Fuck. I don't know where's the best place to bring this back though, because I didn't put intercom in the automation.
So we are looking on the same picture. It's just that you are approaching it from the left to right,
yes.
and I'm from the top to bottom, or is it?
No, exactly right. So I was what I asked by mistake was I asked you who did you want to pick out of the first column on the left. And
sorry, my bad.
No,
okay.
So now it's my bad. I should have just gone with it. It's my problem. But I was thinking, okay, fuck.
Okay,
now I don't.
So
where do you want to start?
Just ask me again who would I pick from marketing automation column, and I'll cut it in a way that.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
That's
okay. Okay, so it's time to get started on our game of the day. So, Mr. Michal Sadowski, who are you taking in the marketing automation column? Where are you spending your first very valuable dollars today?
I think I'm gonna start with the SendGrid.
Okay.
I might switch to GetResponse later if I have any budget to spend. But so far, I don't want to spend a big bucks at this point. So I'll start with SendGrid.
Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna have to keep a note here. I'm gonna write down how many dollars you spend so we can keep track of this.
Which might be not really a wise solution, because more and more it feels like the companies these days undervalue email communication, which is still the cornerstone of every online business essentially. And
no, I mean, I think SendGrid is a great option. I think my advice here would be, coming from the marketing side as well, or sales side, is SendGrid is going to be great if you're willing to know that you're probably going to have to interact a lot with IT to get changes to templates, to get changes to content, right? So that's the kind of giveaway.
I actually have another approach because maybe skipping to engagement. It feels like I will pick the intercom out of the bunch because it's also providing some email marketing capabilities. So maybe that's a little, because maybe that's also a little reason why I chose SendGrid. No,
it's cool. I get it. It makes sense. Okay, so I am going for marketing automation. I'm actually going with GetResponse. My reason for that is. Yeah, if you guys are watching, it's nothing to do with the fact that, we used to work together. But ultimately, I'm going to do it for exactly the same reason as you, is that I know that intercom is great for communicating with existing customers, existing trials. However, if you want to start backlogging up all those old users and all that great data, intercom is going to be way more expensive over time. So I'm going to stick with GetResponse because also I'm a little bit of a phobe of asking IT to change some templates and things like that.
Makes sense.
So okay, we have our first column, and I've already spent twice as much as you. So
yeah. By the way, so SendGrid is a sort of equivalent to Postmark.
Yes, in my opinion, exactly. I'm sure that some smarter people out there will correct me, but as I understand it, it's like a pure transactional type of sender, let's say.
Makes sense. Maybe that's why they were acquired by Twilio for, I think, $2 billion recently.
Exactly.
Just a disclaimer: we use Postmark for our some of our email communication. So some of our transactional emails at Brand24 go through Postmark, just to optimize the deliverability, the open rates, yada yada.
Makes sense. Okay, so we are moving on to round 2, which is the CRM round.
So I would save some money here. Normally, I would go for Pipedrive, which we use for keeping track of the high engagement, signups and potential customers. But since marketing automation, since tools like Intercom or User Engage also give you this CRM-like capabilities, specifically if you mix them with some sort of your own CMS or CRM system, we have, I will go with the Trello just to save some bucks and leverage Trello as a project management tool mostly.
Yeah, makes sense. So I'm expecting some big bucks coming out of Sadowski camp later on in this. That's two $1 purchases so far. But from my side, I'm definitely going to stay loyal to Pipedrive. That is just from my side. Again, probably
amazing pricing, right? A really good product.
I like Trello. We use it for a lot of the project managed stuff. I think where my sales hat is going to come in for Pipedrive and why I like it is because it really keeps you up to date with what do you want to do with your leads next? Right. So keeping the follow-ups and so on. But obviously, at early stage startups especially, you don't need that in the beginning. Trello, when you're handling your first 20, 30 customers, is going to be great, especially. And I think the only other thing is again, sales manager inside me. I'm kind of happy with the Pipedrive for a little bit of the analytics on how the team is doing and well. But obviously, this is going to cost me later down the game because I'm already spending. I've not saved any real big money yet, so I'm still middle down the line. So we have Michal has spent $2. I've already spent $4, and we are getting to the middle of the road. So here comes engagement, and I've got a feeling we might be on the same page here. So where is your money being spent in engagement, man?
Yeah. So my LeBron James would be Intercom or User Engage or any product that's at this mix of functionalities, really combining some of the marketing automation, email marketing capabilities. It's not that I really love Intercom, although it's ever present within our company, but their pricing sucks. Their customer success is not that great, as they typically change their pricing for existing customers as well, which is not the it's not making them any fans, I believe. So more than ever, we are considering a switch. Actually, if we had enough IT resources, we would switch right now from Intercom to User Engage because there's more functionalities. It's much better pricing, and I wouldn't be surprised. It's obviously remains to be tested, but I wouldn't be surprised if the user.com offered much better deliverability, because Intercom might be the victim of its own popularity, because oftentimes we get info about our emails getting into spam folder or a commercial folder or whatever is the name within Gmail. And it's not because the content itself, but because of the email service. So
Yep. I hear you. I mean, I think one side of me says big up to Intercom, because if users are really trying to leave or they don't want to, and yet they're still there, it is something to consider as a slight success. That at least the product itself is taking over all the, like you said, the level of customer success, the level of pricing, their ability now to kind of show small companies that they don't care. We all know these kind of things, but for me, ultimately, again, I've gone with Intercom for the same thing. However, even as this game kind of shows what I talked to a startup founder last week, And I said, hey, listen, before you get sucked in, you might literally you can still achieve similar things if you take live chat and MailChimp, or
Right.
get response and, like a different live chat provider. Because again, I agree, when you're at the level of Brand24 with the number of users, you are only going to really probably consider switching from Intercom to user.com or Drift or a similar suite of tools. However, if you are starting out, you can keep these things separate, and there are Zapier integrations and all that kind of good stuff.
Let's be honest, a newly formed company is not going to, create a red flag metrics for slipping out customers. They will use default settings, if at all. So it feels like at the early stage, the tools like live chat or even any chat make much more sense, because it takes a skill and it takes some analytics to leverage the most out of Intercom. But again, with all the criticism, it's still an amazing product. That's why it gets my $5. I wish it could cost $5.
It's literally got your $5 right now, even in real life.
Yeah, just every second almost.
But I threw a curveball in here, and I think it's worth mentioning, because I put AppQs in here, because I still see this ability that people can take a live chat plus a onboarding tool plus an email marketing tool.
We use both, right? But it feels like at some point the AppQs will become a big competitor for Intercom, because as far as I know, Intercom already became a competitor for AppQs with some of their new features.
We are literally just turning this off this week because we used Intercom Tours. It's quite horrible. We are switching to User Pilot.
That's really valuable insight. So you didn't like the Intercom Tour?
We didn't, because in terms of kind of placing tours around the product, it right. happened. But in terms of design and control, it was really difficult. So, for example, the very first hurdle we had is that when somebody enters traffic, we want to give them an option to start doing A or B. You want to see some sample data, or you want to start creating a job. You cannot do that in Intercom. It just physically is not created to do that with Intercom Tours. But as you know, with tools like AppQs and User Pilot, they are all in on those kind of functionalities. So
just a disclaimer for people who are not that familiar with AppQs or the Intercom Product Tour feature. It is a way to present pop-ups, messages within your product, just to walk clients through the most difficult parts of the product, just to maybe improve onboarding. So typically this tooltip, pop-up, walkthroughs when a new customer is entering your product, or if you launch some new feature and you want to, grab your users' attention and turn it into some parts of the product.
Yeah, and the cool thing about those tools, like you said, they are evolving quickly. So as with AppQs, as with User Pilot, you now can run NPS through these products. Right. Those really nice kind of to-do lists are available in there as well. So it's a different topic for a different day, but definitely they are valuable. I think a lot of SaaSes will definitely use multiple ones of them as well. But like you said, Pipedrive I saw that they also offer now a live chat for websites as well. So really? All these kind of tools are picking little pieces of that Intercom puzzle and pulling them in and saying,
makes sense.
We want to do it. So we both stayed with Intercom. For now, it's understandable. Right. I think we're getting to, from knowing you, I know you are big on analytics. So this one might be a really interesting one. So what are you going for your analytics tool?
I mean, I have to go with Google Analytics. That's I'm super tempted to go for Heap, which is I use a lot these days, because we use Heap, Google Analytics, and Hotjar. And it feels like Google Analytics is a sweet spot, and for most use cases, that's it's like good enough for most of applications.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I'm going to be a super hypocrite, because in real life, I think we are plugged into 4 of those. Traffic, we have Heap, Google Analytics, Hotjar, and Profitwell, ironically,
here.
all plugged in. However, because the one I would have to say I was least skilled in was Google Analytics. And we hired a performance marketing manager lately here at Traffic, and she was luckily able to say, like, okay, so what you take from Heap here, you can technically do it in Google Analytics. You want, so I think the good thing about Heap that we realize is that it really still gives you this kind of user persona that Google types of kind of keeps most users kind of anonymous, let's say. That's the one giveaway. But ultimately, yeah, how hard is it to say kind of like, I don't want Google Analytics, considering just how strong and powerful it is. So
it's like this old,
I do have.
You can get fired by buying IBM, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm going on the same pathway. So I'm taking Google Analytics as well, just because it's down. It can cover such a wide range of analytics, right? But I do love Hotjar. It's telling us a lot. I do love Heap. I like Profitwell. Ironically for us, it's not so powerful right now because we don't have so many of our payments going through credit cards. So obviously, and even at Brand24, I used to feel like Profitwell was a good insight, but it wasn't super accurate. You used to have a lot of differentials between real life numbers, right, and the numbers in the dashboard.
That's true. All right.
So it turns out
I need to pause just because the battery exhausted in my camera. So I'll.
Okay. Yep. No worries.
Just a second. Very cool idea of the challenge. Very cool.
I'm really hoping from the engagement side. I'm really hoping that people will be like, oh yeah, I want to have this idea, this idea. The good news is that if we really like it, in a couple of episodes, we can kind of come back and do like webinars versus all that kind of stuff, right? So.
All right, ready for the last.
So did we? Yeah. So did you manage to get your analytics one in on your camera?
Yeah, totally.
Oh, cool. Okay. So we get to the last channel. Now let's just give you a recap. You have spent so far just $10. So you can pick anything you want right now, where I unfortunately have already spent $12. So I'm limited to just 3 of these 5. So not that I'm saying it would change my judgment. Maybe it would. I kind of really wish I could take the top one. But what about you? I mean, you have had lots of success on almost all of these channels. I think, especially the 4. I'm not sure how much you kind of, have found value in LinkedIn lately, but which one are you taking? Which one is your channel?
I'll go with YouTube, just because, as you know, I'm always excited about the video part. Yep. It feels like still there's way more real estate on YouTube than advertisers. So even though it doesn't feel like this when you are using YouTube ourselves, because we see one ad after another, but it's still a very cost-effective channel for at least remarketing, but also getting in front of the audience. So YouTube would get my vote.
Okay, interesting. I want to ask you about this actually in a little bit, because we also I really wanted to put some time into YouTube lately as well. But first of all, I'm left with Facebook, Quora, or TikTok. And first of all, I guess I'm
You're
having
so
to
picking
go with
Facebook, aren't you?
I have to go with Facebook. And I will tell you why this is a really tough choice, because ultimately I'm not a fan of Facebook even personally so much anymore. I feel like it's the channel itself is getting crowded and so on. But it was a really hard choice, because Facebook as an individual I'm finding really valuable for groups, business networks, those kind of things. I have some great contacts. I can ask questions. All those great groups on like startup groups, SaaS groups, Polish startup groups. They're really valuable.
Yeah, there's
that's
value.
That's it, unfortunately. I love Quora, but I think it's such. It
feels like Facebook drew some traffic from Quora, or not like maybe traffic per se, but like they drew some audience from Quora, specifically Facebook groups, right? Because most of the conversations about which tool should I choose, what is the best platform for this or that, or how do I grow my sales with Facebook ads. Facebook ads would obviously generate conversation on Facebook, but most of the conversations about our industry or like marketing tech, it feels like it's either on Facebook groups or on Slack channels these days.
Yep. And it's intercom syndrome for me. It's like I would kind of probably like to walk away from this platform, but there is such a value that you can't turn off and on again, so you have to kind of stick with it. And it's really good value. I mean, we would, and this is good and bad. Traffic was tagged in a post in a recruitment group yesterday in Poland where someone said they are considering moving away because they're unhappy. This is a value. This is an insight to a customer that I wouldn't have got if I wasn't connected in that group somehow. So,
I thought you would go with LinkedIn. Obviously, at some point, I saw that you couldn't afford LinkedIn, but
yeah, that's the problem. So LinkedIn would have been in there. That's probably why subconsciously I put it at number 5, especially in my industry. But unfortunately, I didn't have enough money. So no, LinkedIn would have probably been in there. I'm a big fan of Quora, as you know, but I still feel like Quora is so unpredictable. Is it like, I know, at Brand24, there was huge success with Quora, but also a lot of time and investment into trying to work out, like, is this sustainable? There were questions from 3 years ago that still drive traffic today, those kind of things. So I like it, but it's just as a company with not a huge amount of resources, it's really hard to go all in on Quora, right? So I like it. TikTok, I don't.
Yeah, it depends on the audience. If you have a lifestyle company, or maybe not even a lifestyle, but because there's more and more brands on TikTok that become successful, and even outside lifestyle brands. It feels like it's TikTok could be a smart investment here for some of the businesses out there. For us, obviously, in the B2B space, even though TikTok is booming, it's not yet a source that could be driving a lot of decisions, but it's certainly for other teams, it's for other companies, it's easy for me to imagine that they would start with TikTok, and because it offers incredibly good value for money because the ads are cheap, definitely much cheaper than LinkedIn, which is most expensive ads we've ever run. No, it makes a lot of sense. So I want to just come back and ask you, because we started on YouTube. I'm a big kind of believer in it. We've been launching interview series there, and to be honest, over the first 6, we will launch the 7th one today. Ironically, the number of views and number of subscribers is really low. And consistently, basically, like some videos will get 60, 70 views, maybe 1 or 2 will get 200, but overall, it's not mind-blowing impressions. However, one thing I found is, like, I've had a couple of meetings in the last couple of weeks with really nice big companies, and they've been like, "Oh, we saw your video, we'd love to be part of it." So, ironically, YouTube still seems to have that one-to-one value, even though it's a mass product, right? So, for me, that was really great to see, even though in the beginning I was like, am I doing the right thing? Like, a few hundred views. But it seems like a lot of people have told me just keep doing it anyway. But the nice thing to see was just some of those, like, you never know who that 200 people are. It could be really valuable relationships, right? Totally. I mean, imagine in the real life sitting 200 people in a room and playing the video. That's immensely powerful. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of YouTube. This is a social network I probably spend most of my time using across all of the networks here. I think that it's a difficult medium to manage because it takes time to build community. It takes time to build some exposure, but it also like you have to treat it as just like a search engine. So if you tackle keyword which is like HR software or HR tools, and get position within the first page, maybe the traffic that's coming for this, maybe it's not going to generate thousands of views or tens of thousands of views. Maybe it does, but likely not. But just like you said, the views will be invaluable for a product like this. So at the early stage, we thought that being visible within YouTube for strategic keywords, it's immensely powerful.
Yeah, and big up to Chia. She helped me out a lot actually when I had this kind of crisis of conscience, and she was like, there are some tools that you plug into YouTube. It can tell you a little bit more about SEO, the tags, and all that buddy. Exactly, which is almost cool free to get started, I guess, or something like that as well. So to kind of to bring this back, I have
$1 left.
You have $1 left. Are you going to change any of your answers?
If I may, yes, I would either switch from Trello to Pipedrive, because I really like Pipedrive, and for tracking the deals, the Pipedrive might be useful for our sales team or customer success team. Or I would switch SendGrid to GetResponse. So if I were a business at the earlier stage where I don't have really IT resources to build a communication around pretty much a service, and just want to use ready out of the box package, I would probably switch to GetResponse.
So to wrap up then, if you had to choose which one of those you were going to spend your extra $1, like which one would it be? Are you upgrading your email or are you upgrading your CRM?
Let's go with GetResponse then.
Okay, so to wrap up your choices, you will have GetResponse, Trello, Intercom, Google Analytics, and YouTube. That's your $15 spent. Now, I have to admit, I'm pretty disappointed that I didn't get to LinkedIn. So I think if I'm going to be open here, I'm probably going to drop Intercom. It's a big step.
Ooh.
And I'm going to drop Intercom all the way to live chat. And I'm going to think to myself, okay, I'm going to just spend more time integrating live chat with GetResponse and building a funnel that way.
Makes sense.
And I'm going to bump my channel all the way up to LinkedIn. So to kind of wrap up mine, I'm going to be GetResponse, Pipedrive, live chat, Google Analytics, LinkedIn. And they are going to be my
pretty amazing config.
Yeah, and again, people out there, I respect all of these products. The price is based on the pricing on the market, not on the value that they bring. So don't be offended if you think somebody shouldn't be at $2 or at $3.
And also don't take this too seriously. I mean, it also depends on the type of business you're running. Like, maybe like Trello is as a CRM is not the first thing that comes to your mind, but obviously it can be used to keep track of the deals in a way. Just like the profit well, it doesn't like it. It is analytics, but it's mostly financial analytics rather than traffic analytics. So please don't hate the game.
And I think, to be honest, in most of these columns, I could have put another column which would have been Google Drive, because I think that we've all used, these kind of things for like CRM, would be Excel, and all.
Google spreadsheet, totally like a CRM.
Everything, yeah, basically. So yeah, basically, what I would love to know is where would you spend your $15? Most of the people watching this have been through this process. You've bought tools for the first time. Which is the 5 set of tools you would like to kind of start your hypothetical business with tomorrow? I'd love to hear some other opinions on this.
Same here. I would also love to hear what are the alternatives that you could recommend. For example, Intercom alternatives. We've mentioned a few, or Heap analytics alternative. Some people use Amplitude, which is also an amazing product. Probably from this price range as well. So please share the tools, and let's make this cool compilation and maybe get back to this topic in a few months and see if our decisions changed.
Yeah, and sorry to HubSpot, Salesforce, and Marketo, you never had a chance, I'm afraid. You never had a chance, but who knows? There'll be someone out there that would love to take
Isn't this kind of interesting? Because to some extent, we said that for some products, the vastness of features, essentially them dipping their toes in other types of businesses makes a lot of sense. That's why we chose Intercom, because it offers some additional email marketing or marketing automation, capabilities. But for HubSpot, not so much. Did they went too far? Did they went too wide? What would be your?
When I joined Trafford, we actually had HubSpot for CRM because it's free. And there's some cool things about HubSpot that I didn't even know. Like they have a Calendly alternative, which is HubSpot Meetings, which is free to get started. So what I think that they did right was they have this freemium, which pulls people in. But my experience is that the jump from freemium to paying anything is too big. Where Intercom have been really smart at pulling those startups in and paying a little bit more, paying a little bit more, paying a little bit more. And you just don't even, you just look at your invoices when they're all crap, we're paying thousands of dollars.
Yeah, but by the time you are fully invested, and it's super hard to move away.
HubSpot, Salesforce, Marketo, they're making you make a really big purchasing decision very early on, right? So they're not teasing you a little bit more. So I think that's probably part of it. However, I do think that we'll get in the comments people that kind of love HubSpot. I know a lot of startups buy into it, especially at the freemium model. So they might be like, hey, put HubSpot in at $1 or $2. But ultimately for me, when they wanted to get like a really good feature set, you had to jump to like $60 a user or something like this. And it was like, whoa, it's like too big a step. So, yeah, maybe that's the thing, but also we still know that Salesforce is a huge product. Maybe not a startup product, but they are definitely not, without a few bucks. So,
specifically, if you have to buy for 12 months in advance or 24, preferably.
So one day we will play this game with the Fortune 500 directors of marketing, and they would probably say that,
you can't go wrong with Salesforce, right?
I've got $100 to spend. Screw your $15 budget. So yeah, who knows? But very interested to hear what other people think. Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I've already said to Michal, I'd love to play this game again with a whole new board of SaaS. So if you got any other products, webinar tools, appointment setting tools, all that, we'll definitely come back to this in a few weeks and do this again.
We should make our own product hunt.
We should make our own product hunt, which is, you can only pick one product a day, but you only have this many bucks to spend. So no, I like it, but no, I think it was great. I'm very, there are definitely some similarities in our choices, which wasn't really a big surprise. However,
that you are a full-grown Manchester United supporter and I'm a Liverpool fan.
Yeah. I think that we are definitely in the $2 or low category right now. But
specifically after the last games.
But thank you for redeeming us and taking some of the shame away.
No worries, man. No worries. Some things are more important than football, right?
That's true. So, dude, that was awesome. Thank you for that. I
hope you enjoyed
it as well.
Episode. See you guys later.
Looking forward to the comments. Bye, guys.
Take care.